good is bad? What on earth do you want about Chow? Well, I'm not a child, and neither are you probably, but if you are, woo! So as a kid, I was taught to treat women like a gentleman. But growing up, I've also been taught that women respond more to men who play an air of arrogant disinterest. If you're a girl, maybe you are surrounded by stories where the princess finds the prince who loves her for the incredible person that she is. Growing up, you've probably also learned that the best way to attract a decent man is to focus on your face and your body, not your heart. We grew up in an age where superheroes and superheroines like Superman, Captain Planet, remember him? Wonder Woman and Xena were our role models because they were compassionate, righteous and selfless. Nowadays, it seems that those in the limelight include your Dexters, your Dr. Houses and your Walter Whites, who lead lives centered around deception, dysfunctionality, rebellion, and anything but selflessness. Build and then destroy. Just what is up with this? Maybe it's a macrocosmic manifestation of yin and yang, an endless cycle of creation and destruction. But let's not get into that in a YouTube blog. Why the 180? Well, in the first Bowjinjin Preaches, I touched on the complexity of human nature, and this is a facet of that observation. There's no denying our capacity to be both incredibly good or incredibly bad. It's available to and present within each and every one of us. In a parallel universe, there's probably you who's going around destroying settlements, pilfering, desecrating, and maiming as you please. There's no getting rid of either, but we can think about where they originated from and pick one that resonates more with us than the other one. And this doesn't just strictly concern ethical things like life and death, absolute morality and wonderful things like that, but also things like the choices you make in life in terms of your general outlook. So what you decide in your career, the type of lifestyle you decide to adopt, the hobbies you take part in, the people you hang out with, etc, etc. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's a no-brainer, you know, I'd rather be a good person any day, and I would never cause harm to anyone, unless they deserved it. And that there is the major flag. There's a major difference between being a good person in the spotlight and being a good person down to your very core. Now, I'm not claiming that being the latter is easy. In fact, it's downright solid, as I touched upon in my previous vlog about being a nice person. Because of this, many people might decide to settle for the first option. They might even go beyond and foster a genuinely positive attitude most of the time they are conscious of it. This is where most of us are, I would hope. However, the average person belonging to this group has blind spots. Maybe you won't think twice about illegally downloading an album because everyone else supposedly does it and finds it acceptable. The person on the other end won't feel the pain immediately, if at all. Maybe if you're a guy, you like taking liberties with your backhanded comments towards a female acquaintance, because in your mind it's only in good humour and you don't actually mean what you say, and plus you get an ego boost from being that cocky guy. Maybe you like to regularly cook a little more for taste for your family, throwing in a load of fried, oily, heavily seasoned dishes along with heavy desserts. In your mind, doing something special for your family by cooking them delicious food and showing your love for them and introducing more family time. Have you ever tried to stop a friend or a family member from doing something or trying something that they wanted because you had a nebulous gut feeling and you were worried for them, only for them to do it anyway and for them to be happier as a result? How could you have known you were wrong? And how do you continue to know that you are wrong? This is the dichotomy. What do you believe? Do you believe in yourself, or do you believe in what you're told? Do you think that good is bad, or that bad is good? Unfortunately, that's up to you, but I can tell you what I think for you to consider. I think that many people have the two flipped around in the major areas in their lives. I witnessed this with my family and my friends, and the problem is, a lot of this self-proclaimed tipsy-turvy thinking is the consensus within our culture. It's the popular way of thinking. For example, people think that good food is a luxury that should be experienced to the greatest extent. They think that taste is a fundamental principle of life. Many of these good foods, as I mentioned, are high in fat, in sugar, salt, with little of anything else. If you read about just how lacking in nutritional value a lot of this food is relative to the amount, then you'll know just how it traps you. I grew up in a Chinese family, and this has been part of my reality for most of my life, and to an extent still is. Many people think that getting something for free warrants taking it, even if it is stealing, particularly if they don't think that they'll get caught. Because of this, attitudes towards certain things, music being a huge one, and other such consumables, has become one of baseless entitlement. And this one right now is the one that causes the most headaches in our societies. People think that the most important criteria in selecting a good career are pay, security, and credibility. Whoever they work for must have good branding, or the industry must be perceived as being lucrative. The main culprits are finance, law, IT, consultancy, and the healthcare industry. Some of the time, people believe that they can make a difference once they get into the job, but most of the time, making a difference is nowhere near the top of their lists. It's comfort. And I understand the argument. I have a family to feed, I have taxes to pay, I have to survive, and good for you, but it ain't for me. And there are plenty more where those came from, Jack. In the end, it boils down to your attitudes and your perspectives. In my opinion, most of these popular perspectives are fueled by attitudes of fear and ignorance, as harsh as that sounds. But when you start to question these attitudes and perspectives, you might discover that life is just so much more. Once you start switching over to the untrodden path of living a conscious lifestyle and having a conscious mindset, you might discover that you feel happier, you feel more loving, and way more fulfilled than you first thought could ever be possible. And having gone on that massive rant, I just want to say that I'm in no way condemning anyone or who they are. I just wanted to get people thinking. So what do you think? What is good and what is bad? More importantly, what do you believe? A life filled to the brim with good could be waiting for you if you just made that first leap into the darkness of the abyss. Good is bad and bad is good, only if they are to you. Build and then destroy. Why the 180?